All right, welcome back to day 30 of the 100 horror films in 31 days. Got in 3 films today, which puts me at like the 105 mark. Today, let's see. First up is 1989's Witch Trap, directed by Kevin Tenney. Kevin Tenney must be. I mean, if you look at his IMDb page, I don't know whether it was intentional or whether it's due to money or whatever, but the guy is making a living off of a sub genre of horror films. I mean, you think about it. There's Witchboard 2, Witch Trap. I mean, how many times can you repeat the same storyline? And that's really, in my opinion, what we have here. Witch Trap. If you've seen Witchboard or Witchboard 2, then you've really seen Witch Trap. It's kind of the same story. In fact, James Quinn, who was in Witchboard, is in Witch Trap. Now, Witch Trap is not a bad film. But it's a very predictable film. Leanna Quigley has a very iconic death and a very inventive death in this, which is the highlight of the film. Basically, spoiler alert here, she gets it with a shower head that comes out and gets her in the throat, which I thought was pretty cool. But it's the same story as Witchboard in a lot of ways. You've got a demonic force that's trying to come back from the beyond and then kill people off. The demonic force is trying to, basically through people that can talk to the beyond, spiritual type people. He's trying to inhabit those people so that he can come back into our reality. I mean, it's the same plot device that you saw in Witchboard. Not a bad film, but it's not a great film, and the acting is what lets it down. The acting in this is really, really bad. I mean, with the exception of Leanna Quigley, everybody in this is. I guess they just need to find other things to do for a career. They're just, it's almost painful. You know, you've seen bad acting where even the delivery of lines is almost kind of, it's painful to watch, and this one is no exception, really. Now, having said that, this Vinegar Syndrome release is awesome. It's got, of course, the scan. It's a new 2K scan from 35mm. You've got a group commentary with the director, cinematographer, and the producer, which ought to be interesting. And then you've got a host of video interviews with the director, Leanna Quigley, the cinematographer, special effects supervisor. You also have audio interviews with the makeup artist, the composer. So this thing is loaded. This is a loaded release from Vinegar Syndrome. It's a Blu-ray DVD combo, and then you've got the alternate artwork. I give it a 5 out of 10, maybe a 6 out of 10. I think that I had to knock off a point for the acting. It's bad, so I'll stick with my 5 out of 10 on that. Next up was an awesome film. Inquisition. Mondo Macabro just released this. This is the directorial debut of Paul Naschy back in 1976, and the film is essentially a conqueror worm, witchfinder general story about the church's persecution of people that were presumed to be witches or worship Satan. And of course, anybody that's word of mouth was accused of being a witch or a devil worshiper was put to the rack and tortured until they confessed. And this film is basically that same storyline. Paul Naschy plays, besides being the director, he's got 3 roles in this. He's the Inquisitor, the guy doing the Witchfinder General type, a la Vincent Price, the torturing. He's also the devil in this, Beelzebub, and then he is the Grim Reaper and it's an excellent film. I mean, we've seen that storyline play out numerous times. I love these Spanish Inquisition period films. I still think Witchfinder General's the best one with Vincent Price. But this one's nothing to sniff at. This is nothing to turn your nose up at. This is an excellent film and a well done directorial debut of Paul Naschy. I highly recommend it. This release is the red case release, which was limited. This is 336 out of 666. I don't know if these are still available, but besides the red case, you do get. Oh, that sucks. Little accident there. Besides the red case, you get a booklet which covers the film in quite a bit of detail. It's a fairly small print, lengthy booklet. Looks like it's about 10, 12 pages. I think those are if you didn't get the limited edition release, you're not going to get the booklet or the red case, but I still think you can probably pick this up, if I'm not mistaken, as a regular release. Special feature wise, you've got an HD transfer of the film negative. It looks fantastic. I listened to the Spanish audio with the English subtitles. You've got an introduction by Paul Naschy, interviews with the star Danielle Giordano, and then you've got an audio commentary by the Naschy cast folks. You've also got a Blood and Land documentary on Spanish horror, which I'm looking forward to checking that out. So this is a nice release. I highly recommend it if you haven't picked it up. Got some kind of an issue there. I don't know what that is. Some kind of, I don't know what that is. Something's sticking in there. Alright. Last up was a gritty, grimy 1970s politically incorrect film, Night of the Strangler. Now this is a Vinegar Syndrome DVD release. Stars Mickey Dolenz, who was the front man for the Monkees, the 60s TV band, kiddie band. And he is the brother of a guy that hates blacks. And of course now you got the plot, what happens when you get this kind of racial hatred going on. Well, his sister has an affair or gets pregnant by a black guy, so that spins the whole thing into the realm of a horror movie, which now you get into this who's doing the killings and all those type of things. It is a really, I mean, this is another one of those films from the rough and tumble 70s that you just would not, today's culture, you would just not see a movie made like this. I mean, every pejorative term that you can think of in terms of black people on white people and is used in this thing unabashedly. So it's an interesting throwback into a time that we're probably never going to see again. The director of this thing is Joy Hoke Jr. And Joy Hoke was is a New Orleans native guy that was making low-budget indie films back in the early 70s out of New Orleans. And this film was based in New Orleans. Although, it's interesting that this film doesn't look like it's not obvious that this was filmed or shot in Louisiana or New Orleans, but apparently it was. It's a good film. It's kind of got a made-for-TV feel to it, but it's definitely one that I would recommend. I would classify this as kind of a proto slasher. I guess I would throw it in that genre. It plays more like a murder mystery Italian giallo, but it could be classified as a proto slasher. Some of the kills are very matter of fact, which I think when they do that, similar to say Toolbox Murders, uh, they're more disturbing. They're definitely more disturbing, and I think the kills in this are because they're done such in a matter of fact way, are fairly disturbing, coupled with kind of the racial insensitivities of this film. It's a very unique watch. So if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend it. Now the problem with this release is the picture quality is horrible. I don't know whether the original transfer negative was just bad, or this thing needs a restoration into Blu-ray. Now it says it was scanned and restored in 2K from the 35 millimeter print, but man, it looks bad. It's so grainy. Uh, Maybe that works to the film's effect because the subject matter and the way the characters are, the gritty, grimy picture that you're seeing kind of complements the overall proceedings in a way, in a kind of a strange way. I still give it a 7 out of 10. This is a definite one that you don't want to miss if you're a drive-in exploitation '70s fan. You're gonna want to check out Night of the Strangler. And no, Mickey Dolenz does not sing any Monkees songs. Thank God for that. All right, that wraps up day 30. One more day to go, and I hope you guys are having a happy Halloween today, and an enjoyable Halloween. Nothing bad happens tonight. I will be. I'm cruising through, watching as many as I can to finish up the 31 days. Thanks for watching.